There we go.
Man, we're good. All right, Mikhail, follow you.
So about creating user stories, there's 3 Agile principles we focus on. The first one is working software. This is the primary goal of all progress. And that's the second Agile principle, is that the highest priority is satisfying the customer through early and continuous delivery of valuable software. And
Mikhail, you're gonna kill me for this. Sorry, we actually can't see your screen.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. Can't see the
I thought
time.
it showed for a second. Can somebody share that with?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Again, this laptop
No
has a
worries.
lot of problems. That's what I was
No
just.
worries.
It's the creating user stories, right? Okay.
Yeah, that's the one. Thank you, Kamala.
Okay. Sorry, just give me a minute. Share.
Sweet.
Appreciate it. And as you all can see, and we've already seen this so many times, you always have to roll with the technical difficulties. In an ideal world, it's always good to test before. So we're on the next slide. But I had a couple of emergencies happen right before for my 10 minutes of testing. All right. Thank you, Go. Okay, let's go. Right there. Perfect. All right. So back to the 3 critical Agile principles. Working software is the primary goal of progress. Highest priority is to satisfy the customer through early and continuous delivery of valuable software. And then the 3rd principle is the art of maximizing work not done yet. So let's go to the next screen, please. So working software. The goal, the critical point of working software is we need to organize and track our work that meets this goal. We need to provide units of work that present value to the customer. And part of that is to sort out what's extremely valuable from what's less important. As we've already covered before in this class, it's very important and helpful to visualize this the ability to track and organize and chunk our work and progress into units that represent value to the customer. So as we've seen in Trello, we have to do, doing, and done. Next slide, please. And if you don't have that, we have the good old sticky board in our teacher Ali, as he's shown us many ways. I love that picture. On to the next one. Slide, please. So the basic format of user stories. These are simple stories describing what the user's world must look like. And we've already went over this, but this is really, really good to get back in because it really shows the essence of user stories. So we have who, what, and why. And as we know, the core template is as a, I want, so I can. Let's go to the next slide. I'm going to give you 3 examples here. As a registered user, I want to change my password so I can keep my account secure. So now you're getting another good example of this. Let's go to the next one. As a website visitor, I want to subscribe to a mailing list for a product so I can get product updates through email. And the next one. So as a mobile user, I want to save all my data to the cloud so I can access it from another device. So again, you guys got this. I mean, it's a very important format to developing user stories. Let's go on to the next slide, please. So development and progress. Development is driven by stories that represent the user's needs. This facilitates good and efficient development practices. As we increase the quality of stories, we also increase the efficiency of development and progress. This goes in with our Agile principle that progress is giving the user the ability to do something valuable with the software that they couldn't do before. Now the big question that comes up is, how do we handle this behind the scenes to deliver to the customer? Because this is where the rubber hits the wheel. Let's go to the next slide, please. So now, just a FYI, I mentioned the other day about Agile to somebody who works in tech and actually Scrum, and they kind of freaked out because a lot of developers and people behind the scene that write code, it's funny. I told one person they were really excited, another person like, oh, no. And this is a core example. Developers struggle with a lot of Agile principles. And case example, here's a developer story. As a developer, I want a database with all the tables to model the data so I can store information that the application needs. And you'll see this. I haven't been in the Valley in a minute, but, there's, developers and engineers, all these people, there's certain people that are stuck in their ways and they're hard to let go of a lot of things, how they were trained. So you may get certain people that do come from the waterfall kind of model. Let's go on to the next slide. Actually, let me stop right there. Okay, well, we got it. We're pressed for time, so Hollywood kiss through. But this is a bad story. I was going to ask if you thought this was a good or bad story, but this is a bad story. And why is it a bad story? It's a bad story because all the applications depend on this being done first, right? They want to build a database, make it solid, and then everything comes after. So there's no functionality for the user, and there's no use. They have nothing to deal with. So, and this creates a prerequisite for a dependency on which every other story is dependent upon. So when you have two things that depend on each other to be done first, you're in a deadlock. So, a perfect example is, you have, users who will say like, to the development team, how's everything going? And the development team can sit back and they'll say, hey, we have a bunch of stuff to set up first. We need to do all the setup work before we can actually start the application. So now what Agile Principles teaches that there's another way to deal with this. There's another way. We don't have to be stuck in this model. Let's go to the next slide, please. So again, the other way possible is user stories. We build the parts. You build the parts you need as you need them to create value for the user. Example, even in this dilemma between the development team and, user, they're going to ask, you can still build some of the database, but only the parts you need as you need them to complete each story. So again, back to developers, this is counterintuitive to them. They don't, a lot of them struggle with this kind of idea of, being, with the Agile approach. So, because they don't want to be like, this is one of the big common problems that comes up from the developer side is like, we don't want to rework things. Like say we create one part of the application and later on, we find out we need to go back and fix it or we need to change it. They don't want to do that, but that may become an issue where you have to rework things in the past as future stories become more clear. On to the next slide, please. So software projects fail when there's a lack of focus on delivering usable business value to the user on a regular basis. Now, let me just give you a personal example. I worked at a company where in the past, they had a product. It was an e-commerce company, but they had their interface had like 3 core applications that were up and running, but the sales team would sell on a bunch of other applications that hadn't been fully developed yet or hadn't been released. So, the customers would be like, yeah, this is a great product, but, I have these 3 functionality, 3 applications within your interface, but I can go elsewhere and do it. I mean, it's a little more convenient working for there, but you promised me all these other things. So what would happen is that, release nights were rushed. There was constant, they weren't built properly. There was, on the next few days, there was emergency patches, the customers complaining. And ultimately, it kind of was the Achilles heel of the company. It really took down their They had two major investors, companies that invested in their product, but after years of dealing with this, they bailed. So this is very important, about bringing the user valuable, something valuable on a regular basis. So again, you build the application the way the user wants to think about value, and ultimately, in the bigger picture, this minimizes risk for the business. On to the next slide. And so this, in conclusion, this is the core Agile principle, that the cost of some work is trivial compared to the benefit it provides in delivering business value sooner than later. Ultimately, people want things now, especially people become more impatient. So with your permission, if you guys have any other questions, that's the end of this presentation. I hope you guys benefited. Let me know if you guys have any questions.
Mikhail.
Yes, sir.
Yes, one question. So let's say the user needs change in the middle of a sprint. Do we do like a sprint backlog, or do we change in the middle of that sprint? Let's say the user needs change in the middle of the sprint. What do we do then?
That's a great question. Ali, what do you say?
So during the sprint, if you notice that there's some, it's up to the product owner. So don't forget, once the sprint kicks off, in the middle of the sprint, as the developers are doing it, and let's say it's a really easy example. You wanted a red button, and then in the middle of it, the product owner is like, hey, my bad, I wanted actually a green button. Well, it's kind of up to the discretion of the developer. Technically, you're not supposed to be, that's called scope creep, and you're not allowed to add anything or make changes to those user stories. You actually have to take that user story out of the sprint and have it done in the next sprint. But if it's a small, tiny change, like changing the color, usually the developer will let you do it. And you, the Scrum Master, you're kind of like, that's where you have to play the relationship game. And you have to kind of understand, you have to talk to the engineers to see, like, is it like something they could actually do? Or is it like something that will require a lot of work to make those changes? And usually you want to defend the engineers because they're the ones that they don't have anybody to defend them. Does that make sense, Paul?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because they're the ones that make the increments. So I understand that part. Okay, that's fair.
Do you guys understand the main concept of user story? Maybe if we could go back, like, to one of the slides that have the main ingredients of the user stories, to see if anybody has any questions on that.
This one?
Yeah, so why was it a bad story again? Can I read that again?
The previous slide, I think Bilal wants. This was giving you an example of a story, of a developer's story. I could read it to you real quick. It's basically, as a developer, I want a database with all the tables to model the data so I can store information that the application needs. So, it's basically they want to build the database fully. And this, Ali, you're the one to go with if you want to, with your experience of you seen this, please chime in because you have the experience. But, the next slide just basically showed, was talking about how, all the applications are depending on this being done first. So this doesn't allow, any functionality for the user. This is more like a development centric model. You get what I'm trying to say? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. Yes.
Ali, do you want to chime in, add anything with that?
No, I think that was good. It's too big of a thing. And I can give you like another example. Let's say, for example, you're trying to make an ESPN.com website and from scratch, and your user story was like so high level. It was like, create sports pages for the entire website.
Okay.
That's like so high level that like basically that's like all of the project. You know what I mean? Like you can't like that it has to be something that's small, that's independent, that's testable. The key is small. And I'll actually copy and paste. If you look in the chat, I just copy and pasted the main, the main ingredients or the main things you want in the user story. But yeah, no, that was a fantastic question.
If I may add something real quick, Ali, I heard something on the news that was really interesting. That recently, like somebody was talking about how like Agile principles are taking over. Not just tech, but in a lot of businesses. But I guess in one business, it became a big problem was the whole Juul, the whole tobacco thing, and they were saying that in developing, getting this product out because people are becoming impatient, and it's all about profit. But they were saying with the Juul how they were implementing these agile type principles, but now there's all these problems coming up with health problems with the product of Juul. So they're now Juul's in these big lawsuits. But it just made me realize like how much this is taking over. And having just worked briefly in tech, I mean, I see why you need it. But they were also just saying that with certain industries, like when you're dealing with healthcare, that's something, anything related to health, you need to slow it down a little bit. So, but in tech, it's high pace, it's people want the hottest thing. People want, and I was just tripping out, like even in Facebook, I was remembering using Facebook, and, they gave us that. I remember how old it was, when you first got on, and then slowly they started unraveling, different features and revamping, the site, but again, giving you that core functionality and user base, ultimately, like they say, to create, I hate using this, but they use that word, I'm sure you heard it, Ali, addiction. And people become addicted, and then, so I hope, does that make sense?
Yep.
Hey, Ali, was this based off the presentation? Was there a guide or something that we're supposed to read, or is there something else?
No, so in the email that I sent you guys, if you see the email that I sent to you guys last night, I included, Mikhail's video I didn't include, so I'll send it to you guys after this. There was a 5-minute video that I want all of you guys to watch, so I'll send that to you.
Okay.
Tomorrow, I forgot who's up actually tomorrow. Does anybody remember? Was it Kamala?
No, it's Chris.
Anyway.
Chris.
Chris, yeah, so mashallah. So Chris, you're going to be up for your homework presentation tomorrow. In the email that I sent, you'll see the videos that you need to watch. Each one of them is kind of like a short 5 to 10 minute video, and I sent like a few of them. So just to summarize the main points, just like what Mikhail did. And for everybody else, I put the links to the videos so you guys could actually watch it yourself. You could feel free to speed it to 2 times. So a 5-minute video is only 2 minutes, and you'll probably appreciate Chris Corrales' presentation tomorrow so much more better if you watch the videos beforehand. Cool. So excellent job, Mikhail. I really liked it, and I want to do an actual activity for you guys all. So Kamala, if you could share screen again, and if you could actually go to slide 15.
$15?
Yes, 15.
Oh, so not these slides.
No, slide 15.
Okay.
The next one. Oh, no. Go back.
Oh,
Hit present. Hit present.
yeah.
Yeah. Hit next. Done. So I put some secret slides. So basically, while you guys were talking, I was adding these slides.
Okay.
You could always do that.
I didn't see it before. Okay.
Yeah, no, I just secretly added it. So if you click on next, so I'm going to have you guys all basically do this exercise. You guys are going to, right this second, you guys are going to be going right into this exact document and click on next. You can also use your right arrow to go next as well. So Bilal, your slide is going to be 17. You're going to do this like right now. You're actually going to go right into slide 17, and you're going to create a user story description and acceptance criteria. And if you notice, if you keep on going forward, Kamala, to the other side, keep on clicking next and next and next,
Wait.
or just hit the right arrow.
Oh, okay, there we go.
Yeah. So Kelsey, all of you guys have a slide basically. So Kelsey, you're slide 18. Kamala, you're slide 19. Chris, you're up here. So all of you guys have a slide, a dedicated slide. Oh, Mateo, I forgot to put you. So Mateo, you're slide 22. So all of you, right this second, I want you to go into the presentation. And if you don't have the presentation, Kamala, if you just hit escape.
Yeah.
Cool. Just grab that link on top, the docs.googles.com, your URL. Just copy it for everybody. Yeah, just copy it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And then if you could go to the Zoom and then paste it in the chat. So everybody just open up the chat window, and Kamala is going to paste this document right here into the chat for you. There you go. So if everybody could go to the your chat window. If anybody has problems, please speak up so I know. And is anybody having problems?
I gotta get to my desktop. Hold on.
Okay, cool. So, and what I want you to do is go to slide 16, which is the slide that Kamala is looking at right now. I'm just gonna walk you through this example, and I want you guys to basically do a full-on user story for this example. So your health insurance company, imagine, Blue Cross, Blue Shield, Anthem.com, whatever. User story description for everybody is going to be something to this effect, but I want you to write it in your own words. As a patient, I want to be able to search for a doctor so that I could find a specialty doctor that is most convenient to me. So I want you to write that basically in your own words. Don't copy that exact thing, but massage it, make it in your own words. And then I want you to write acceptance criteria, minimum of 10 acceptance criteria. I gave you 2 examples right there on the right. So go ahead, read it on your own and get into the slides, start editing right now. And I'm going to give you guys 3 minutes to do this. And at 5:30, we'll all look at the slides of what everybody did. While everybody's working, if anybody else has issues or problems, let me know.
Just stop sharing.
You can keep sharing. I know everybody else is like on their own webpage, so they shouldn't be. The only person looking at your screen is probably me. So it looks like I could tell who's actually writing right now just by looking at the slides. So I can see Mateo's working. I don't think Amina's on. So Chris and Kelsey and Bilal, have you guys been able to access the? Have you guys been able to access the document?
Ali, mine says view only. I'm trying to edit it, but I don't know how.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes.
Hang tight.
Okay.
I'll change that. Yep. Give me 1 second. Share. Edit. Cool. All right. You guys should be good. I just changed the status, so yep, no problem. If you refresh the screen, you should be able to edit in real time.
Now we're back inside.
Chris, can you unmute yourself and let me know if you're able to get in?
Leila, bring it back inside. Leila.
Yeah, I think I got it. I'm just trying to figure it out here.
Perfect. Kamala, you're good? You're able to get in?
Yeah, I'm just thinking about it. Yeah.
Cool. Bilal, were you able to get in?
Yeah, I'm almost there. Hold on. I'm getting there.
Cool.
So should I go to homework presentation?
No, just that. Yeah, you could do that. If you go to homework presentations, yep. And then if you go in, you'll see status report. Yep, status report. And then just go all the way down to slide 17. That's your slide.
Got it.
I'm gonna give you guys 2 more minutes.
Oh,
Whatever.
okay. Just started. Hold on.
No worries.
All right, Ali, I'm having so much trouble on my phone. I never did Google Slides before on my phone, and I am not doing well. Okay.
Don't worry. No, don't worry. Don't worry. It's okay.
All right.
This is just the beginning. Tomorrow we'll continue this exercise. Right now, I just want you guys to get in there and just kind of get the feel for it. Tomorrow in the class, we'll get more deeper into this, and I'll give you more time to write more.
So do you see me typing?
Okay, thanks.
Yep, I see you typing.
All right.
In fact, if you go to Bilal, if you actually go to slide, for example, go to slide 20, for example. Hello?
Okay.
And if you go to slide 20, do you see how it says Chris on it?
Yeah. Yes.
So
Okay.
that's actually Chris writing right now. Like he's actually writing live. Like everything you see there, he's actually writing all of that right now. So if you go to any of these slides, they're actually being edited all in real time. You can actually see what everybody's editing. And if you wanted to, you could actually, I mean, don't do this, but if you wanted to, you could actually edit somebody else's slide.
Oh, right.
Obviously don't do that, but you can do that.
What's acceptance criteria? Is this about building a website?
This is good question. So imagine you're trying to search for a doctor. So you're going to like a website like Blue Shield of California or something, and you're going to their doctor search website, and now you want to like you're at their search bar, and now you want to just look for a doctor. Let's say you want to look for a cancer doctor or like a primary care doctor. So you want to basically build that for that website. You want to build just the search. The area where you're going to enter the search and the filters for that search. And the acceptance criteria would be like kind of like the requirements of whatever you want to have in that search. So if you look on slide 16 as the examples that I put, like number 1 on slide 16, it says verify that I could enter a doctor name and change a distance filter so I could search by distance.
Oh, nice. Okay.
You can be creative. You could add, as much stuff as you like. Tomorrow, when we do this together again, we're gonna try to aim for like everybody having 10 acceptance criteria. All right, we're at 5:33, so I want everybody to freeze for a second. And Kamala, since you're sharing screen, you don't have to go into presentation mode. But if everybody goes to Zoom and look at what Kamala's sharing, Kamala, can you go up to slide 17, please?
17, sure.
Great. So this is what Bilal's done so far. This is great. So find doctor that is easiest to find. So the user story description below, it would be in the form of like as a patient or as a like as a patient or insurance member or something. So as a particular type of user, I want to X so that I can X.
As a patient.
Yep. As a patient, I want to
find or
yes, and find doctor that is easiest to find. So and then so that I can XYZ. This is great, and we're gonna build on this, but this is great. So that I can find a doctor that is easiest to find, so that I can make an appointment. Excellent. Okay, excellent. And so if you're talking about making appointments, then your acceptance criteria might be around thinking about that experience of what do you want to input if you want to be able to make an appointment. So think of like 10 acceptance criteria for that.
Mhm.
So Kamala, go to the next slide for Kelsey, slide 18. All right. So Kelsey, oh wow, you were able to do this. That's awesome. So as a patient, I would like to be able to search for a doctor that is covered under my personal health. Oh, that's fantastic. Okay. And then acceptance criteria search within certain distances. Okay, this is great. I think you're onto it. That's perfect. All right, Kamala, let's go to slide 19. As a doctor, I want to be able to view my patient's current medications. I like that. That's very creative. Okay, that's fantastic.
But I
Let's
don't
go
know what
to,
the acceptance criteria. I'm a bit lost.
no worries, that was fantastic though. Let's go to slide 20. As a soon-to-be father, I want to easily find information in local classes on how to support my wife during pregnancy, labor, and post-birth. This is excellent. And then you would just, so after you say post-birth, you could put comma, and then you would say, so that I can. So the ending of the sentence, Chris, would be, so that I can achieve X, Y, Z. Awesome. So that I can start now. Cool. Cool. MashaAllah. And then, sorry, I'm using Arabic again. MashaAllah just means, just means God caused it to happen. Amina, I know she wasn't here today, so we'll skip that one. And then Mikhail. All right, user description. As a patient, I want a website that will make requests for prescriptions and blood work easy. That's awesome. I think we all want a website like that. That's awesome. Okay, and acceptance criteria, create interface and application that doctor and patient can easily use and check. Cool. Okay, I think this is awesome. You guys did a fantastic work. I think Mikhail walked us through the user story description. I might actually have whoever's going tomorrow. Oh, Chris is going tomorrow. I might actually have Chris go through videos about acceptance criteria instead. So Chris, give me another 15 minutes. I'm gonna send another email to you and and I'll send you other videos instead to swap it out. Because I think if you give a presentation on acceptance criteria tomorrow, it'll really help the class tomorrow. All right, that's the last slide, right, Kamala?
Yeah.
Sweet. So. Okay. Sorry, I went a few minutes over, but this is awesome, and I think we could end now. So, who is recording?
I was.
Okay, cool. Sorry, I think we're like leaning on you as like the designated recorder right now, but perfect. Kamala, if you could, after you end, if you could upload the recording to that Google Drive recordings folder, and then I'll upload it to YouTube.
Okay.
But thank you, everybody. See you guys tomorrow. And if anybody has questions, I'll stay on for another 5-10 minutes. Otherwise, assalamu alaikum and goodbye.